Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to explore yellow and color mixing with using just your primaries and how you can make different shades of yellow. So all the colors that you can pre-buy, for example, yellow ochre or a cadmium yellow, any of the different yellows besides what we're going to be using, which is just your primary yellow, can be made by mixing different amounts using your primary. So I'm going to show you just a few basic shades you can make with the primary, which is why in all of my videos I'm just using the primary paints plus black and white, because you can make all the other colors using your primary colors. So I'm using just a basic brush to mix. You can mix along with me and play, or you could just watch to see what maybe you're trying to achieve a certain color with what you have, and maybe all you have is some basic paints. But mainly we want, for any of our yellow mixes, you want to have a majority yellow. So mostly yellow is going to give you just your basic shade of yellow, which looks yellow, nothing mixed in. So we have that. Now, if you want to make your yellow look more like a cad yellow, and again, it's not going to look like exactly like the premix color, but we want it to look closer to this. So all you're going to do is add red to your yellow until it starts to look more like this color. So notice how you can look at this paint right here next to it, and I can kind of match it by looking at it. So I added a little too much red at first, and notice how it has kind of an orange quality or an orange undertone, but it's still heavy on the yellow. It's not quite orange, but it is a deeper shade of yellow that is leaning more toward orange. So see how now we have a pretty close match to the cadmium yellow, and that's just by adding a little bit of red into your primary yellow. So there you go. You don't need to buy this. You can, but you could still work with your primaries and get something very similar. Now for a yellow ochre kind of color, this is kind of a pre-mixed of that. Basically, you're just taking your cadmium yellow, so you have yellow with a little bit of red, and then you're adding a touch of blue as well. That was way more than a touch. So see how you just want to touch, otherwise it's going to get way out of control. But what it's going to do, you have more red, then I put way too much blue, but you still have mostly yellow. And then you have a touch of blue and a decent amount of red. And then that's going to give you this more yellow ochre kind of color. So then you have that, and that's pretty good. I might actually add a little more yellow and red. I feel like the blue went real crazy real fast, but see how color mixing can really get kind of out of can get a little out of control pretty quickly. Now, sometimes if you have this situation happen, it's really helpful. Notice how it all gets skunked up in my brush. It's helpful to clean your brush off if you're color mixing and you're frustrated with getting it to do what you want. Sometimes you just have to clean your paintbrush and dry it off and just start over. So again, I might want to add more yellow and more red to get more of that ochre color. So it's basically just taking a hint of blue into this to give it more of an earthy flavor. And then you've changed it just a bit. So see how that's changed just a bit, but you're leaning more into that yellow ochre color. So much fun. And then if you want to make your yellow a little bit more neon, what you're going to do is you're going to have mostly yellow, and the smallest amount of blue, So it should still look yellow, but now it's getting a little bit greenish, and you can even add a little bit of white to give it that really vibrant kind of color. So see how that changes it as well, just slightly, giving that slight green undertone.